From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big afternoon and it's a big evening of Evenings LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check that the Democrats want to give you, and the signal that there may be more checks than initially thought, no less than 48 hours ago. Breaking news on this. Then we'll be turning to the two-path process, the recon that has your stimulus checks in there and a lot of other checks for you as well, and the bipartisan that doesn't concern you, so we don't care about it. And then we cut to the big money of the calling the vote. We'll be going over the passage of recon and why linkage and when they call the vote, how they call the vote, is more critical than anything else. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall, with another stimulus check and the raise of your benefits and the breaking news that came in about that, which is absolutely wonderful. And then we go over why viewers like Nisi have gotten $22,000 from this channel in the last few weeks and how you can get it as well. Viewers daily are getting $5, $10, $15, $20,000. It's your chance to get that money. And we're going to go over all those details as a big evening unfolds. The excitement is here. I am here. It's a big evening. We're halfway through the week, halfway to the weekend. Let's get to the wonderful news. Starting right here, right now, on Evenings LALATE. To the middle of the week. You are halfway through the week. Are you excited? I'm excited. How are you doing in this big evening's broadcast tonight? I'm just excited for you to have joined me. How's the weather where you are, though? It's hot here. It's hot. I don't know what happened. It was not hot earlier, and now it's too hot. It's too darn hot in here. Feels like a Nelly song. But jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuned in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 this evening, we'll be going over the breaking news. It's all wonderful in three parts about the fourth stimulus check. Number one, how many checks, when you're going to get the checks, and why there may be more checks based upon the developing details the last 24 hours. OMG. Then we cut to the two-path process. And the two-path process, recon and roads and bridges. I don't care about roads and bridges. I'll just take the street. And then we cut to the big, exciting third part, which is linkage, how they call the vote, which is more critical than when they call the vote. We'll explain why these details are so wonderful and who is protecting you on this path. Then we cut to fifth stimulus that has a lot of money across the board, and why viewers are getting $5,000 to $22,000 every few days from this channel. It's your opportunity to get that money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoon. I'm next back with you with overnight's crypto right after the show ends. So stay with this video. It'll send you right in there. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Thank you. We're now at 410,000. Yes. Next up, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. It always helps in the algorithm rankings. And it delivers you Mitch's mixtape. Don't you want that? And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check from those House and Senate Democrats and understand why there may be a big surprise unfolding about this in just the last 24 hours. Pandemic plus 1 year. Well, this is where the surprise is. That House bill. Pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. The Senate proposal monthly from July to December. Let's look at the payouts. House, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. Senate monthly unknown. But word on the street is it's this. OMG. Deliciousness. Look at that. Per person. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Now, here is the surprising breaking news. Earlier today, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, said, who you kidding? The pandemic ain't over. Okay, big economist, big business guy said the pandemic's not over. What happened yesterday? LA County. The pandemic's not over. What are you talking about? We're putting masks back on, going indoors, even if you're vaccinated. This means that maybe the House bill would pay you pandemic plus 1 year. We had said over the last week, well, they'll say the pandemic's over and just give you 12 checks. Maybe not anymore. Maybe we'll actually get pandemic plus 1 year, which will pay you a lot more than $13,000 compared to this. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. And I think you may have a different opinion than even 48 hours ago. House or Senate? Vote right now. I see you voting, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. See how things change by the minute on this channel? That's why you got to stay with me. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. If you got a third stimulus check, you get a fourth stimulus check. Single individuals, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. 75,000 or less. Married couple, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. 150,000 or less. Double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Same amount of stimulus check for everyone. It's not income, so it ain't taxable. And it's not a waivable check. It's a monthly check. So if you go to the disco tonight and you're on the dance floor and you see a green beast doing a strange dance move, check, what are you doing over there? What is that? Is that the twister? Don't talk to the check. It can't wave back at you. Hey, check, what are you doing? The twister? Wait, did the check wave back at me, or is that just a bad dance move? I don't know. Don't wave at it, and don't feel rude. Don't feel insulted. It's not a rude check. It's just a check that can't dance well. It's also not a waivable check. And there you go. Those Democrats who may not be able to dance well either represent they're going to be giving you a check in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. And you should not be focused on what day of the week they're voting on the check. Even though they represent the vote will be done by July 4th, you should be focusing on how they call the vote. This is the critical distinction that will absolutely torpedo or deliver on a platter your checks. Why that's important? That's in the third part of this video. But in the second part of this video, we'll be going over the two-path process. Selling, you're seeing how it's important to understand that everyone knows you're getting checks. And now that they know you're getting checks, they're trying to derail it by having you voted on second. We'll be going over all those details. And why it's wonderful news, because everyone has your back. Even the cast of Cheers, where it's always a friend that knows your name. There you go. In the second half of this video, here's a preview. This stimulus, it heats up the fall with another stimulus check for 2022. It's wonderful. I'll be going over how that fifth stimulus check works and why the raise of your benefits lifetime tied to inflation is getting even better as new data came out today. And then we'll have that new financial data from the Producer Price Index and also from the lumber numbers. OMG. Get me a 2x4 ready. All right, here we go. But boy, first, we're going to get some money. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do. The viewers of this channel are absolutely wonderful, and I got to applaud you. Every night, you are killing it. If you're on the live chat right now, jump in the live chat and say what money you got from this channel. And you're going to start to see, as the live chat starts to move right now, what's going on. In fall of 2020, we were waiting for second stimulus to pass, just like now. But we weren't tracking checks, we were cashing checks. And I got viewers to cash $250,000 of checks. Viewers like Tyrone got $15,000 for his family of four for rent in Boston in December. He made his entire holidays wonderful. That's what I've been doing since spring of last year when I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans to save their businesses, their homes, and also their employees' homes. What's going on? Viewers have suddenly realized that third stimulus, when it sent out a $14 stimulus check, is not actually paying a lot more money. And now viewers have followed my advice, and instead of tracking that third stimulus check, they're cashing not $1,400, but $14,000. Viewers like Nisi have gotten $22,000 for this channel. Viewers have gotten rent in far in excess of what I'm about to reveal, and they've gotten Snap in excess of $5,000 per person. Let's go over all the incredible details, starting right now. Get a pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, it is not Murder Blue. This is not Murder, She Wrote. No, I am not Angela Lansbury. This is a violet shirt, thank you. So get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over rent, utilities, more. I almost said we're going to go over Murder, She Wrote. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, not murdered, mortgage assistance and homeowners' utilities. Get that pen and paper ready. The rent I had been saying was $5,000, approximately 4 to 6 months of rent, but boy, I was wrong. You proved me wrong, and get into the live chat right now and prove me wrong again. Viewers are getting a lot more. 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 12,000 just the last few days. It's just incredible. You're going to reach out to different places for this rent, and each place has different eligibility. And if you get a no, reach out to the next until you get a yes. Are you ready? Here you go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID, or utility assistance because of COVID. Now, you don't say words that they don't know. You do not say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fan club. They don't know that. They just don't know that. They don't want to know that. There you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money. And congratulations to all the viewers who continue to really impress us all. If you got rent, jump in the live chat. Inspires everyone. Say right now what you got. Congratulations to Art who got 3 or 4 items, like Nisi who got 3 or 4 items. The next one of those 3 or 4 items, which I'm going to go over right now, is SNAP. It's wonderful. It is money for your food from Department of Agriculture. Not money for your $12 ice cream, just money for your food. I'm going to go over all the details of that right now. How do you get it? Reach out to Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 gets upwards of $15,000 a year because of 2 wonderful executive orders from Biden and from Trump, that family of 4 from Hawaii. What happened? Biden and Trump's executive orders raise your benefits up 15% nationally for everyone between now and December. So go get it. One viewer got 6,000, another viewer got 7,000, one viewer got 5,000 just the last few days. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it. If you got Snap, jump on the live chat and tell the other viewers what you got as well. And there you go. You're killing it. You are just killing it. You are cashing those checks, not tracking those checks. And $16,000 for SNAP for a family of 4 in Hawaii, $5,000 approximately for rent. And we are only 11 minutes into this video. You're killing it. I'm killing it. The check, you're not killing the dance floor. Get off of that dance floor. This is not the solid gold dancers. You're green. You're not gold. And there we go. Well, we got more money for you right now, and it's coming back from your state. The federal government has ordered states to return money back to you, a fortune. What is this money? It's the money that was overpaid you due to computer error. That's what happens when you're doing Windows 98. I just come up to the present. One viewer got $5,000 from this. Where are you going to get it? Direct deposit that you had set up for your state's unemployment department. When? Call your state up and say, hey, state, where's that return of that check due to computer error for my unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And then finally, our last wonderful pot of money, and it's so wonderful. It is coming back from IRS. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat. Margaret got it. Cod got it. Michael. It is the refund check. What are the details of this? First, how much? It's a lot. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits, of which you paid $5,000 of 2020 taxes to IRS, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. When? This month. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, do a transcript search. And you'll be shocked, though. Details will reveal about yourself. Stuff that you really didn't even want to know. Stuff that you don't want me to know. It will reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It will reveal, really, what does Mitch call that dance move on the dance floor? It will reveal, what does Mitch do when he goes to Jazzercise? And then finally, it will reveal the tax return check you're getting and the date. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the second of your major 3 parts of your 4th stimulus check updated 2021 today. You know, it is such a better place today than it was a week ago today. Actually, a week ago yesterday. What happened a week ago tonight, last Wednesday night? On Wednesday night last week, a major change that helped you dramatically for 4th stimulus. Up to last Wednesday, not today, but the Wednesday before that, your checks were in recon with other stuff that doesn't concern you. Roads and bridges. Over the last 3 weeks, Nancy Pelosi had been meeting with the president and Chuck Schumer about this issue. And you're going to see in this video, for the first time ever on Evenings LA, a lot of breaking details, including the fact that those Democrats had been plotting this out for weeks. And they have been plotting this. So for anyone that says they're dragging their feet, please stop it, because these people have been plotting this out for you for a long time. And they were plotting this out because someone doesn't want you to have a check. And you know how that is, the GOP. So these people were not dragging their feet. They were plotting this out diligently, weeks over weeks. What are they doing? They said that the recon was a little bit too bloated and had stuff in there that really needs to go out. And what needed to go out? Roads and bridges. And a week ago tonight, they decided, yeah, let's spin off Roads and Bridges out of the recon into its own spin-off TV series. and we will call it Nash Bridges. Roads, Bridges, Nash Bridges. No, that's not John Johnson. No, it's not that Barracuda. Although you can send me the link to where your Barracuda is for sale. Send me the link. If it's on eBay, just send me the link right away. No, what they did was they said, we're going to have two paths, recon and bipartisan, a week ago tonight. Why was this wonderful? This was wonderful for two regards. Because finally, number one, you had identity, or your stimulus had identity. And second, because finally there was something to protect. Now, this is all fascinating developing details I'm going to show to you for the first time on Evenings LALATE. Your checks were always in the recon. Your stimulus checks, climate checks, EV checks, checks for children, checks for adults, checks for housing. Checks for housing? Yes, that's a new one you're going to hear for the first time on this Evenings LALATE broadcast. Checks for children, seniors medicine, a lot of checks which you've never heard of. Wait a second, I've never heard of all these monstrous checks. I thought we just heard about stimulus checks. Surprise, surprise. The progressives actually were piling on a lot of other stuff in there. But that other stuff in there was getting overshadowed by roads and bridges. And people were looking at it and saying, naysayers, not Democrats, naysayers, it's just roads and bridges. Well, those naysayers have now been silenced because roads and bridges are no longer in there. They're in their spin-off series called Bipartisan. And finally, the naysayers have nothing left to say because the recon is only checks. Finally, the naysayers are looking like buffoons because the recon is only progressive stimulus, progressive checks. And finally, if it wasn't even clear enough, Mitch McConnell's making it clear for you. How? By trash talking it. Isn't that wonderful? By trash talking recon, he's making it even clear that it's everything he doesn't want you to have. His comments about the recon, it's progressive socialism, democratic wish list, checks for people who don't need checks, so they stay at home and they get lazy and they collect checks. Thank you. That's what it is. Well, just don't call me lazy. There you go. Finally, the naysayers are so furious that they could no longer play the game. It's just roads and bridges. So now that's all that left is just to trash talk it. And suddenly, your recon has a beautiful identity. Now, the other thing that made it even more beautiful is that no one really needed to protect roads and bridges. I mean, they're bridges. They're made of steel. But over the last 2 weeks, we had heard Jalopal, the president and progressive, saying they were protecting the recon. We never knew what they were referring to. Now we do, because in the recon was all the progressive relief. 2 weeks ago today, 2 weeks ago this Friday, Jalopal had said that the president is telling her to keep on doing what she's doing. And Democratic Brian Schatz said that the White House has told him that the progressive policy priorities in the recon are the president's own priorities and keep on doing what you're doing. You see what's going on? Finally, a fort was built around the progressive recon. And the recon is only progressive items. Stimulus checks, climate checks, EV checks, checks for seniors, checks for children, checks for medicine, checks for housing. It's the first time you're hearing it on this broadcast. Yes, checks for housing. There is a reason why the recon is so big as a number, because there's checks for a lot of wonderful things in there. And suddenly, the recon now, number one, has its own identity. And number two, it is now being protected like a fort of stimulus. Absolutely wonderful. So suddenly, as we go into this evening, we no longer have to worry about the identity or what's in there or what is it. We just have to go over to the next step, which is how they vote. And that's coming up later in this video. But boy, how did we get to this wonderful, wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by Jalopal. And it's important to understand that when you see these dates, I'm going to go over with you, they all line up that these people were preparing this for you a long time. This was plotted out. Jalopal wrote Schumer a letter about 2 weeks ago saying, Chuck called a vote on the recon. Now, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats from among the 100-plus House Democrats who said, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in there for the fourth stimulus package, Mr. President. Wow. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 House Democrats who are writing your recon, let's pause for a second. Did you hear that clearly? Democrats writing the recon. Who do you think writes the recon? Mitch? Of course not. GOP? No. It's not their recon. So for every naysayer say it's not in the recon, you're not running the darn recon. So zip your mouth. It's not your recon. I just love how GOP people want to run around and say it's not in the recon. You have nothing to do with the recon. It's like me telling me that I have something to do with your hairstyle. Trust me, I'm not taking credit for your hairstyle. So the Democratic House members of that subcommittee who wrote your third stimulus recon and claim they're writing your fourth stimulus recon say they're putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus recon. Wow, can we top that? Yes, and they claim they're putting fifth stimulus checks in the fifth stimulus recon. Wow. Who are these people? They're on the House subcommittee that's solely responsible for writing stimulus checks when they go by recon. To which I just expect a GOP person to say, but it's not in the recon. Trust me, you have nothing to do with the recon. Just focus on your own stuff. It's not your recon. I just love it. It just cracks me up. But how do we get to that wonderful spot? Can we top that? Yes. I'm going to come back to these 7 people later in this video because they're very important. We can top that. As the president 2 weekends ago really did a wonderful thing for you by going overseas and getting an international agreement that pays for your fourth stimulus corporate taxes recon by getting an international agreement to the edge that anchors fourth stimulus to the edge of the finish line. Because the pay for recon, corporate taxes, is now covered in the international agreement as to international issues. Wow. Now let's go over that. If you notice something familiar, I'm saying the word recon a lot when I'm referring to taxes. Why? Because recon, the fourth stimulus recon, is paid for by raising the corporate taxes. The bipartisan is paid for by staying away from taxes. You say taxes to Mitch, he just runs for it. So suddenly, you're starting to see a trend here. Yeah, the president plotted this out really well as well. The president said to the American people, well, I'm paying for the recon by raising corporate taxes, but I'm worried that corporations may move overseas if the corporate tax rate is lower in other countries. So he reached out to those other countries and said, can you raise your corporate taxes? And they said, yes, tentatively. To which he said to his staff, let's go meet those countries overseas in December. Bring some of Jill's potpourri. And then the staff said, Mr. President, you could bring the potpourri in June. Everyone loves potpourri year-round. Oh, so then 2 Saturdays ago, the president went overseas and got those countries to sign on the dotted line about that international agreement about taxes, anchoring fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line. Because now, fourth stimulus recon, which is paid for by corporate taxes, no longer needs that provision about international taxes. They're in the international agreement, making it easier to pass fourth stimulus recon for the Democrats writing the recon. Wow. Now that is wonderful news and very clear news. Can we top that? We can, as we go into the most important, the fundamentally most important and the only battleground for fourth stimulus. Not what's in there, not how many paths there are, but how they call the vote. That's coming up in the third part of this video. The critical thing you're going to learn from this video is that not what date they call the vote, but how they call the vote. So for everyone that jumps into the live chat that may have said already, are they calling the vote by that date? Let me say something very clearly as a preview of the second half of this video. If you hear someone saying they're calling a vote on your recon on this Friday, you do not do a victory dance. Because guess what? If they're calling a vote on the bipartisan on Thursday, you're getting 0. I'm going to explain to you why. The date of the vote is not the issue. It's how they vote on it. Really fascinating news, and it's all going to work beautifully. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But what's more wonderful than that, and plus the update about fifth stimulus, it's the volunteers. If you need rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or SNAP, the volunteers can help you get it. How do you find the volunteers? Go down in the description of this video. In the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house is a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. On that page is the volunteers. Under a picture, some kitty cats. They're not the volunteers, they're just kitty cats. Lower are the volunteers. Reach out to them for rent, utilities, SNAP, internet. But they cannot get you the recipe for $12 ice cream. They cannot send you a copy or download of Mitch's mixtape. They cannot tell you how to get to Mitch's Lobster Fest 2021. But they can get you practically everything else covered in this video. And I'll be back in 60 seconds with that huge finale, don't miss it, of this extended Evenings LA broadcast coming up in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on this big evening's LA broadcast. In the finale of this evening's LA broadcast, you're going to see why calling the vote a certain way is more important than the day they call the vote. And this is why it's so critical to stay to the very end of this video. You're going to be very informed about how this is the fundamental big surprise and why it's absolutely wonderful. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Hit that subscribe button and bring us to 1 million. And next stop, thank you. We're at 410,000 subscribers. Yes. And also like this video. Every like helps. It also delivers you disco tickets. And consider becoming a member. Do you like disco? Jump in the live chat if you like disco. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over fifth stimulus and fourth stimulus. But stay with this video. When this video is over, it'll automatically take you into Overnight's Crypto, which has some really breaking news tonight. Okay, so fifth stimulus has so much happening today. First, we already know there will be a fifth stimulus check recon. Yeah, you hear that word again? Recon. Because the people writing it are Democrats, and they will be doing it by recon. They'll be doing it this fall. And the checks will go out in January. Legislation efforts would start in September, done for a vote by October, November-ish, written by the House subcommittee that does third, fourth, and fifth recons. Wonderful. Then the president is dedicating $1 billion to the Social Security Administration to ensure that your checks going forward go out on time. That's fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, and your monthly checks. I've had a couple of viewers ask me, I haven't got to my third stimulus check. Remember, if you never got your third stimulus check, your second stimulus check, you categorically must file a tax return to request it. There's no way around it. Don't be tracking it. It's not coming. You have to file that tax return. Finally, let's go to the big update as we turn to raising your benefits, SSI to VA, under fifth stimulus. Well, really big new economic numbers this morning, and they all signal inflation's going up. So the private payroll numbers came in this morning, 692,000, which beat estimates. Meantime, lumber numbers price of lumber fell by 40%, the biggest monthly drop on record ever. And this is as yesterday's numbers showed that housing starts was going up. So this is all inflationary numbers, great numbers for you. So let's go over how this works. And you have learned so well from these fifth stimulus videos that I think you now understand how we're heading. And the only issue that really remains is one. Let's go over all the details. We understand that the benefits limits will be raised up. The inflation benchmark will be applied. The asset limit will go away, the marriage penalty will go away, and the income exclusion will go away. You've been very good in learning how these items line up. First, they'll raise up your benefits lifetime. You got that. Who's that? Who's that? You. So SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, multiple benefits, and calcino benefits? Yeah. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. You got that. And you understand how a benchmark works. They apply it for next year's benefits. That's how they're doing it now. Very easy. They're just going to change what the benchmark is to inflation. Pretty easy. And they are also going to change, and that benchmark will determine your benefits next year. You got that as well. You also understand that inflation's going up. And you understand that Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve last week, said it will reach its highest point in December, which is when they apply your benchmark. So, wow, it is perfectly lining up. The only thing that remains to be known is, one, if they pass this, and number two, if the inflation rate is as high as Wall Street is expecting. Wall Street is expecting a 10% inflation rate by December from what they think is about potentially 4% right now. If that's the case, let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time under fiscal stimulus. Then they'll apply that benchmark. And if it is 10%, your benefits next year will go to 10%. But not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. You'll be at that plus whatever happens in the future. So if next year the rate is 1% inflation, you'll be a plus 10%. Wow, that's wonderful news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s laws that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Then you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and some crayon crowns that are not muddle blue. You'll be you'll be able to go back to work if you want and circle around one more time, range of options, and no longer fear loss of benefits. And finally, love is going to win. The marriage penalty is going to go away. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. Now, if you've gotten money from this channel, whether it's SNAP or rent or utilities, and you haven't posted in the chat yet tonight, or you forgot to leave something out, jump in the live chat right now. And as you see people posting in the chat right now that they got rent and utilities and SNAP, how are they learning all this beyond just the video? How are they learning all this? By me. From becoming a member. You'll notice they have emojis next to their face of their names that are purple hawks. What happened? When third stimulus passed, I told viewers, yeah, you'll get a $14 stimulus check, but we aren't tracking when you're going to get a $1,400 stimulus check. We're going to be cashing $14,000 checks. How? From going through everything that you qualify for under third stimulus. Daily members are delivered from me to you, a breakdown of all the monies that are in third stimulus. And by becoming a member, the link's at the top of the channel, pinned comment, I deliver to you daily a breakdown of all the big money for you from third stimulus. It's really almost a travesty not to get this money because it was dedicated for you. And it's important to know the money and get it because most of it's application based. And so when you see these viewers getting $5, $10, $15, $12,000 left and right, it's not an anomaly. The money was there for you to get and it's still there. So consider becoming a member and getting that big money right now. All right, let's cut to the big finale of your fourth stimulus check of 2021. It's starting right now. If there was one big message I could deliver in this video tonight, it's the following. A lot of people are looking at that calendar, are looking at that promise from Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi said over 1,000 times about a July 4th date. And they're saying, are they going to be voting by July 4th? And people keep on repeating that date. Here's what you want to know. And also they're looking at the calendar and understanding it's a holiday. Remember, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi's comment was by July 4th. But here's one thing you need to know, and this is the most important thing of this entire video tonight. You need to ensure the checks, the recon, is called for a vote the right way, not the earliest date. What you need to know, it's not the date they call the recon, it's how they call the recon for a vote. And I, early in this video, gave you the following example. Let's say they call the recon for a vote on Friday. Don't be dancing in the corner because you have a date for the vote. Because if you hear 10 seconds later, oh, and they're calling the bipartisan for a vote on Thursday, guess how much money you're going to get? Probably zero. Guess how much money anyone will get? Zero. The recon will never pass. What's going on? Well, that's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. What's going on is the GOP and Mitch want the bipartisan to be called for a vote before your recon so that the recon implodes. See, it's not so much how they call the vote, when they call the vote, but how they call the vote. You need to have the recon called first for a vote or continuous or at the same time as the bipartisan. It can't be called for a vote after it. And no, even easier, you don't have to say has to, it will be. It's what you need to know. Here's what you need to know. Calling the vote, what's going to be called for a vote, how it's going to be called for a vote, is determined by two people in the Congress. Only two people under the Constitution. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and the Majority Leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer. And guess what they have vowed? That the recon will be called for a vote first before the bipartisan. that the recon will not be called for a vote or addressed after the bipartisan. It will be addressed before or continuously at the same time. Wow. Now, this is huge. Let's go over why this is so important. What's so important is that this was not something that was come up just 2 days ago. Oh no. I told you there was a lot of fascinating dates in this whole process. You understand why those subcommittee House members in the House were writing the recon over the last few weeks. Because the recon is where all the progressive ideas are. In fact, tonight we're seeing that there's a lot more progressiveness in the recon than we had ever even known. And that it has been kept relatively quiet. Over the last few weeks, says a new report today, the Progressive Caucus has told the White House that it is putting in a lot more progressive checks into the recon than ever before, and that they will not support the bipartisan going for a vote separately or first, rather that the recon has to go first. It got even better. As Representative Ilhan Omar today, Democrat of Minnesota, says, we Democrats have a commitment of regardless of what happens with the bipartisan bill, we will be giving the recon, they will give us in the recon as far and as much as we want. This is huge. Remember the fort early in this video? Remember protecting the recon? Remember the identity of the recon? The identity of the recon was overshadowed by trucks and roads and bridges. But in a way, it may have helped you because no one was paying attention to the recon. Now that roads and bridges are out of the recon and they're protecting like a fort, the progressives like Omar admit they're piling on checks into the recon. Does it get better than that? Yes. As Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, said, the linkage, meaning calling the vote on the recon and the bipartisan at the same time, is non-negotiable for me, meaning he has to have them called at the same time. He's not going to have the recon called for a vote a day or two later. I will refuse to vote for any bill that has failed to be linked to the larger recon bill. Why? Because he has added in there his own progressive policies of affordable housing. Free housing? Wait a second, I never heard about housing checks in this recon bill. Yeah, there's a lot of checks in this recon for you, and they're piling it on. Does it get better than that? Yes. Here's what you need to know. Number one, the bill will start in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer will be calling for a vote concurrently with the bipartisan or before the bipartisan. And then he'll send it to the Senate for Nancy Pelosi, where they will be called concurrently at the same time for a vote or the recon right before the bipartisan. In no way, shape, or form is Nancy Pelosi going to accept the bipartisan for a vote before the recon because she's throwing it in the garbage. She has said in a very clear, emphatic statement, which I'm going to read to you right now, there ain't, this is her quote, there ain't going to be no bipartisan unless we have the recon. And as I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon, plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon passed by the United States Senate. Oh, my goodness. Can we end with even a send-away comment? We can. Jalapa. We Democrats have an agenda we have to accomplish, and calling the two bills for a vote at the same time is the only way it's going to get accomplished. Us Democrats did a poll of our members 10 days ago. 10 days ago. They've been plotting this out for 10 days ago. You see the plotting? Dragging their feet. They ain't dragging their feet. They've been plotting this out for you for days. And the overwhelming majority of our Democrat caucus is they're not going to call a vote for the bipartisan until they first call a vote for the recon. We are done. Away we go. The recon is separate from the bipartisan. Your stimulus is in the recon, not in the bipartisan. Everyone understands the stimulus is in the recon, not in the bipartisan. Everyone is in the GOP is upset about the recon because they can't do anything about it. It has nothing to do with you. It has all the progressive ideologies and what Mitch McConnell calls socialism or Democratic wish list that makes Mitch McConnell angry. When Mitch is angry, you're winning. And this has been a big evening of Evenings LA. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Stay with this video. It'll take you in there in 7 seconds. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record for a reason. You see the depth of the reporting you're going to see on this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Also, like this video. Oh, stop the music. I haven't said it all day long. Purple power, you got to push. I know I have not said this in almost 24 hours, which is too long. You have to push. Friday on noontime LA, WR, a viewer of this channel, jumped to the live chat. A member, he said he had called up Senator Coons' office, Democrat Delaware Senator, Joe Biden's closest confidant and part of the bipartisan negotiating team, and said his pitch to Coons' secretary in his DC office why you need 4 stimulus checks, why there need to be multiple stimulus checks. To which the secretary said, yes, Senator Coons is currently writing the Senate legislation on multiple stimulus checks. Wow. Now, I'm not going to do a very big, massive wow to end this video on because you can't be a donut guy. You can't hold up the donut and say, wow, thank you, WR, for doing my work. No, you need to pick up the phone, call your Democratic senators. If you don't have any Democratic senators, if you don't have Republican, you have to call up someone else's senators, like Warren, like Sanders, or call up the progressives, call up Jalapal or their staffers and speak to them and say why you need stimulus checks. Make the pitch very professional and respectful. Your economy, your business, your community, your bank account, your employment, whatever the situation is, make it very respectful. And with that, I look forward to seeing you in your Overnight's Crypto coming up next. Hit that subscribe button right now, like the video, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and get delivered to you daily all the big money in 3rd, 4th, and 5th stimulus so you can get across the board. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay